Hello everyone, today it's me, Jenny, and it's time for another Not Naked video. It's what Trisha Hirsch Burger's There Is Naked Truth. We talk scandally and truthfully about the subject of her choosing straight out the shower, no makeup, wet hair, etc, etc. That's take one take, and most people choose to do naked, but I choose not to. I choose to wear my jammies. But either way, it is not a sexy time thing, it's a vulnerable and honest time thing, and it's been like 2 weeks since my last video, so blah blah. And today's subject is one that I chose. This is really weird. My tripod is wonky because my duvet is underneath my tripod, and whenever I move around, because my duvet is on my knees, my tripod moves. I apologise. Yeah, off to a rockin' start. Today's subject, as I said, is one of my own choosing. A bunch of the suggestions in the Discord for an emergency topic were quite serious, and I was like, okay, what's not serious? Embarrassing moments! Yay! Which means that by default I now have to talk about it, some embarrassing moments, which it's going to be odd and awkward and all that jazz, but vulnerable and honest is the name of the game. So the first one I'm going to talk about is one that it's similar to Trisha's in that it involves unintentional urinating all over the place. I was quite young as well, very young. So this was I think the first or second time I'd done my dance summer school. And so dance summer school, what I did was we had like dance classes once a week during the whole year, and then during the summer, the first week of the holidays, we do Monday to Friday, and we'd learn a couple of dances with different teachers, and then at the end of the week on the Friday evening we do a big show and we'd perform all those dances on stage. And they stopped doing this in later years, but in the first couple of years I did it, they kind of made a plot, so they'd have like scenes that interlinked between different dance sequences to try and make sense of it. So there were always really weird ones. I think the first one was like a haunted manor, and behind each door was a different scenario, and that's how they were like, and random dance number 1 and random dance number 2, different age group, different level of difficulty. And there was one, I think this was the year where I was like, it was a time travelling one. They stopped doing this as later on and just had dance after dance with really no connection whatsoever. Maybe a theme, but that was pretty much it. But as I said, in this year they did interconnecting scenes. And then on Friday for the dress rehearsal they put in those scenes. There wasn't really that much practice of the scenes. The only practice during the week was just the dances. And then on the last day they would be like, and let's put this scene in here, and this group, you do this scene. And it kind of was a mess, but it was kind of the equivalent of the dress rehearsal. And they put together these scenes and they put in a dance, and then they say this group does the scene, and then we do another dance, then we do another dance, and then this group does a scene. They jokingly said very early on, no breaks, not even to go to the toilet. And I was a very, very literal child. I also thought that anything the teacher said was pretty much like the law of God. So when they jokingly, it turns out, said no breaking even to pee, I took them very, very literally. And it was, you know, the first week of summer, and they also told you to stay hydrated. And so I had a big bottle of water, and it was a long, long wait of either sitting in the chair or going up and dancing. But most of the time, sitting on the chair, waiting for the scene after the scene, and being like, I can remember seeing 1 or 2 other students go up and ask permission to go to the toilet, and then like being like, oh, they're breaking the rules, and I was like, no, I'm gonna stay true. And this is something that I also did like much later in life when I was like at uni, was the only way to get through the situation is to make it worse mentality. And I don't know where that comes from, but that was one of the things that happened. So like the university version was I had a bottle of white wine in my hand at a house party, and my hand was cold, and like the only way to solve this problem is to finish my bottle of white wine, which also ended badly, but it's not the story at hand. So I had a bottle of water and I really need to go to the toilet, and I was like, the only way to solve the fact that I have a bottle of water in my hand is to drink it. So I just kept drinking, and I couldn't go tell the teacher that I need to go to the toilet because that was bad. So then we all went up on stage for our scene and put together a scene, and then we were all going to have like a line like, I shall find the key, no, you shall find the key. Like, it was like really bad, like, I was 7 years old, I think, 7 or 8 maybe. I think I was one of the youngest ones in the year, so I'd only just been allowed in. I think I was the youngest ever admitted at the time, and then they dropped the age group down for a couple of years later. Either way, I was 7 or 8, I was really pretty young, and I'd had this situation where like hours and hours had passed without me going to the toilet, because I was scared to ask, because they jokingly said don't go to the toilet, no breaks. and I'd been drinking water, and I was up on stage waiting for my line to come up, and I really needed to pee. And so it was on stage. This is on stage in front of the entire everyone who, unless they're on stage, they're sitting there quietly watching as we act out the scene. And I really needed to pee, and I really needed to pee, and all I remember is like, just like the way that everyone's faces changed as I relaxed. And my mum was called in to bring in a change of clothes, and it was like mortifying. It was so mortifying, and I can say I wet myself on stage. But again, during dress rehearsal, and like in hindsight, I'm like, it was hilarious, the fact that I was like, when they said no break even for peeing, I was like, yes, that is a real thing that teachers would actually say to a group of 7 to 16-year-olds. That is 100% truthful. And yeah, so that's my first one. The other one that I was thinking about, one of the little ones I was thinking about, which is classic like embarrassment feeling, is I've done this so many times, but when you call an authority figure mum or dad by accident. And I've done it so many times. My favourite time that I ever did it in hindsight was my year 6 primary school teacher, so I would have been 10, Mr. Flint, and I called him Dad, and I went like, I must have gone bright red, and I literally was like, blah, 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 blah. And he responded straight away with, I'm sure he's a great man, and what was your question, Jenny? And I was like, but yeah, he was like, it was just like straight up, like it must happen to teachers so much when kids call them mum or dad. It must happen so much to them, and he was just so fast in covering my tracks for me, and I was like, thank you, Mr. Flint. So I didn't say that, but like I was like, question. The third thing I was thinking of, and I did write a list, but I typed it and then I closed my file. I don't know whether I still have it. I'm gonna check on Principal. Yep, I did not save it. So the third thing that I was going to talk about was quite recently. So my travelling bucket list is Canada, which I've now done, Japan, which I'm doing this year, and last year I went to Paris, which is, I've gone to France several times, but I've never been to Paris. So me and my twin sister and my bestest friend went to Paris, and it was lovely. And we were only there for like a week or so, but we were actually in Paris proper, and we'd been wandering around town all day, and this is quite a warm day, and I don't know whether or not we just weirdly done my meals or whatever, but there was a point during the day where I was just starving, so you know, I ate a cereal bar, felt better, everything was great, but then later on in the evening, it was towards the end of the evening, and we got like train tickets, and we're like, okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to stay in the town, or we're going to go back to our accommodation, which was just out of the city proper. And we're like, well, let's stay in town. So we popped into like this really nice little bar, and we had their like named drink, which was like, it was like Diablo or something, which was like a really nice cocktail, but desperately alcoholic. Really alcoholic. And we only had one drink each, but it was one of those ones you had a sip and you're like, ooh, I mean, this is a good cocktail. And we played cards, and we had, I think we had like olives or something. We had a very light bar stack with it. We're like, okay, that was awesome. Okay, next bar. So we went to another bar, and we were like, okay, cool. We had like, I think, mini burgers and a different cocktail. It was lovely, and we were like, okay, cool. And at that point, I'm a ridiculous lightweight, so I'm like, 2 cocktails, that's it, done. No more alcohol for me. I am feeling a bit drunk, so I won't. We go to the third place, and it's this nice little like, the way that they often do cafes in Europe is to have like the little kind of porch out front. So it's concrete underneath, and then it's got like kind of almost like tent-like walls, but with like this clear plastic so you can see out, but like it's slightly temperature controlled and windproof and all that sort of thing. And then you have the restaurant proper actually inside. And we sat outside, so I had concrete below us, but like we're inside like the actual, like it was like a door frame. And I think it had solid windows. I think it was more like a greenhouse type thing. But at this point, it's, you know, after nightfall. It's, I think it was late spring. So you know, got dark. And there we are. And we had. I was like, okay, so I'm feeling a bit drunk. So I had a jug of water, and then we were like, okay, do you want to have dessert? Because we've had like snacks. We had like bar snacks, and then we had like a little meal, and then this is our third place. I was like, awesome, yeah, let's go for it. I'll have a trio of desserts. And usually when you order like a trio of desserts, it's not like 3 full-size desserts, it's like 3 little like mini desserts, and a pot of tea, because that's what I do when I go out drinking. I order tea because I'm boring. So I ordered a tray of desserts and a pot of tea, and at that point I'm feeling quite full and a little bit drunk, but I'm like, it's fine. So I drink some water, it's all good. Pot of tea arrives, and it's a big pot of tea. I'm like, yes, big pot of tea. Pour myself a cup, great. And the tray of desserts come out, and it's 3 full-size desserts, and my friend and my sister have also ordered a dessert each. So there I am, like, massive desserts in front of me, a pot of tea and water. And I always take it as a point of pride, as someone with a relatively good metabolism, if there is food in front of me, I finish what's on my plate. I always have. I've always tried. The one time I regretted it was in America, where I did that for a full 9 days of eating out, and I was in so much pain. At the end of, on the 10th day, I was just like, no, I can't go out, everything hurts. But the muscle memory is there. If I have a plate of food in front of me, I will finish it. Whether I can or should is a whole other question, but it was in front of me. It was just 3 little desserts, jug of water, pot of tea, feeling a bit drunk, so I'm drinking more water, drinking some tea, trying to eat these desserts. Realised towards like the 2/3 point, so I've eaten a little bit of each of the trio, I'm feeling quite full. But it's fine. It's fine. It's only dessert. I haven't had that much to eat. It's all good. And like I offer it to my friend and my sister, and they're both like, no, we're good with our desserts. They'd finished theirs. And I was like, oh god, I've got to finish this. And then they make me laugh. And when those two make me laugh, I can't not, like, they break me. They break me with laughter. I literally, it's like full belly laughing, like can't control giggle laughing, the 4 works. And I'm really full. And not, maybe a little bit drunk, but mostly just really, really full of fluids and food. I started laughing, and then I felt stuff come up, and I'm sat in this little restaurant area outside, but there's a couple of people like 2 tables across, and like I try and swallow it down, and I swallow it down, but then it comes back up, and I literally just turn and blah, just off the side of the chair. Luckily I got most of it on my coat, and on the floor itself, which was, as I said, it was like the ground was concrete. The waitress did not notice, as far as I can tell. The table next to us kind of didn't actually notice me actually throwing up, but I think they noticed afterwards. Like, we very quickly paid the bill. I put in quite a considerable tip. We scurried out of there. I poured a bit of extra water on the floor to try and kind of swoosh it down a little bit, and we basically skedaddled onto the train as fast as we possibly could. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. 2 of my stories involving bodily fluids, but one of them going up, one of them going down. Oh, why did I make this subject? So yeah, those are my 2 embarrassing stories. I laugh about them now. Like, my sister's fight, like, it was mortifying. Particularly the one when I was a kid, absolutely mortifying at the time. It took me a long time to laugh about that. The one in Paris took me so long to get over. Like, I remember coming home that evening and like having to put my, like, we were staying in Airbnb, and like having to work out how to use the washing machine that we weren't planning on using because we were only there for like a week. And like to put my coat all in there, and just being so horrified. But like, it wasn't because I was drinking, I was just full. I just filled myself up with fluids, and then I was laughing and I couldn't stop. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. I don't know if there's anything else that I was like, that was really embarrassing. Most of the time I don't get too embarrassed nowadays. I think the thing on stage, hindsight really is very clear that the problem with that situation was was over drinking, and I was too scared to ask to go to the bathroom. But I think the teachers at the time thought I was just really scared to be on stage, which I thought was, like, hindsight's really sweet, but not true. Like, I've always been okay on stages. I've always been like, I don't get nervous in that kind of stage frighty way. There is a little bit of that, but I always got really frustrated by like hysterics. Like, a lot of things I don't get embarrassed by. Like, if I break something or I drop something or I say the wrong thing, then you just make do. That's life. But things like throwing up in Paris, like throwing up in a restaurant in Paris, it's taken a long time to live down. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots of embarrassing things that happen. Like, when I was a kid, I learnt to fart silently. Like, that's a skill. Probably not very healthy, but that was something that I remember being mortified as a kid if you let out like a little and yeah, so that's probably not healthy, but that was something that I did as a kid. I don't worry about that so much nowadays. It's not something that's going to like break my life. But there's a lot of things that like I say and then afterwards I'm like, oh god, why don't I do that? Oh my god. Yeah. I'm sure I've done lots of embarrassing things, but I might not have been, like, I'm also really, really bad at accidental innuendos, so there's some stuff that just comes out my mouth, and then I'm like, then people are like, what did you just say? And I was like, this, and they're like, you know what that means, right? I'm like, no? So there we go. That has been my response to my own question on embarrassing stories. Ha! Thank you all for watching. Feel free to comment about your embarrassing stories. I am now slightly embarrassed. And yeah, I hope you all have a pleasant day, and I hope you've all, in sharing these embarrassing stories, we've realised we're all human and we all have embarrassing moments involving vomit and pee. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys all very soon. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.